Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone's doing well. This is section 1 of Unit 2, the Colonial Era. And in this section, we're going to look briefly at mercantilism and what it means to be a colony. So we're going to get right into this. Mercantilism, as we know from our previous unit, is simply this idea that there's a limited amount of wealth in the world. With only a limited amount of wealth in the world, this means that everybody wants to obtain that wealth. And the European countries in the 1500s are going to be wanting to get this wealth. They are developing nations. They want wealth or stuff, if you will. They want resources that is going to provide them with that wealth. And as we've said in our previous unit, wealth equals power. And the more wealth you have as a nation, the less wealth someone else has, which means they have less power. In this particular case of mercantilism, we're also looking at this idea that we want a favorable balance of trade. And what we mean by that is very simply, we want to make sure we're selling more stuff than we're buying stuff. We want to be making more money than we're spending money. And let's face it, that's just a good overall financial plan in general. And these European countries are going to really need resources to produce the goods others want. So they want stuff, whether it's silk and spices, as this all originally started out as, or whether they want timber and fur or cotton or tobacco. Whatever the case may be, they want these resources that will provide them with a measure of wealth. And of course, this is going to have competition. This is going to start competition between European countries. Who can control the wealth, the resources? You know from your study already that not every colony had the exact same resources. Some colonies had others, some colonies had none. And as a result, we're going to have countries begin to fight and argue over who can control what. And that's going to be a really important piece. So here's a quick little graphic. Ultimately, and this puts it very, very simple. The more money you have, the more armies you have, or you could say more power here. And this is going to lead you to rule. In this case, rule the world, but maybe just rule in general. Another little graphic that I find particularly useful is this balance of trade. Now, remember, this is a scale. So the way it is set up is the more stuff that's there, the heavier that's going to be. So more exports, an export is what we're sending out of the country for sale so someone else can buy it, and less imports. These are things we bring into our country that we purchase from other people. So balance of trade being very favorable means we're exporting more than we're importing. We are selling more than we're spending. I really like this little graphic too because it explains the relationship between the quote unquote mother country and colonies. And this is what we're going to get into next. Guys, the mother country is here to produce these manufactured goods for sale, whether it's back to other countries or to her own colonies. The colonies exist to provide natural resources to the mother country, to provide that stuff back to the mother country that they are going to use to turn into a manufactured product. And so that leads us directly into what is a colony. And here's that long definition that we talked about in class. Simply, it's a piece of land. It's an area under the control of someone else, probably far away. And that other place is going to send settlers to this new land. And their job is to produce and exploit resources from this new land for the mother country's benefit. And I think you can see that really quickly right here. Mother country establishes a colony, a piece of land far away. Its job is to provide resources, stuff, for the mother country's benefit. It's exactly what that long definition just said. And again, we're going to have a lot of competition between European countries for these colonies. And we kind of look at the map of Europe here, or a map of North America here. And we see a lot of that competition already occurring in the 16 and 1700s. We're going to have a lot of European countries establish colonies. The Portuguese, they settled in what is now Brazil. This was their big colony. The Dutch from the Netherlands are going to have a couple of colonies right here on what is now the United States' east coast. New Sweden is going to be a thing. Yes, Sweden is going to have a colony here in North America. But by far the most important will be Spain, France, and England. And we look at this map, we can see New Spain, kind of this mint green color, taking up much of the American West. And don't forget about Little Florida. New France, very important big wedge shape right here in the center of the continent. This is that pinkish color on the map. And finally, New England, I'm going to call that bluish purple. They have all this up here in Canada, right around Hudson's Bay. But the most important piece is this strip of land right on the East Coast. These are the original 13 colonies that we've talked about. And so New France, New Spain, and England are all going to have these colonies, and there's going to be a lot of competition. And so that's going to end us on section 1. And I'm going to stop the video here. If you have questions, make sure you ask. But stay tuned for section 2, in which we're going to look at New Spain.